Well, it's been a bloody long time between drinks. I haven't been out in my local estuary chasing saltwater species for I don't know how long, probably close on a year. My fishing opportunities haven't been that frequent, and those that I have had I've used to feed my bass addiction. Nothing like getting that bass hit on surface. But with the colder months, bass, I give them a chance to rest and breed, let them do their thing, even though there are areas within my region that I can chase them that aren't that are out of the tidal influence. So, but today, back to the salt. We've got a tide change coming up right on dusk, and for me that means it's time to go out, hit up the flatties, and hopefully the much sought after mulloway. If not, I'm out on the water having a bit of fun. Got a few new colours in the ZMan range to try out as well, so we'll see how that goes. Wish me luck. Probably only got about 3 hours this afternoon, and that's going to be the outgoing tide into a low right on dusk, and as dusk and nightfall comes, that's going to be the change of tide. So we're going to start by trolling around to some casting points and throwing some plastics, maybe some blades, see what we can't tempt. The wind's supposed to get up a bit this afternoon, and it has. I'm hoping that as the evening drags along, perhaps it drops off again right on dusk, as it sometimes does. That would be ideal. Got mullet jumping all over the place here at the moment. Not the type with the short hair on the top and the long hair at the back. The aquatic type. There's something you don't see every day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. A considerate, polite jet skier. Credit where credit is due. He slowed down a long way before he got to me. He waited until he went past me before going off and doing his jet ski thing. Unfortunately, he seems to be in the minority when it comes to jet skiers, but goes to show you, there are some good ones out there. Thank you, mate. One of the things that I'm looking for in a spot with this tidal influence and the tide pushing is this kind of activity here. This sort of nervous, disturbed water. That's where the water is getting stirred up, where two types of channels or two types of current are meeting. It's definitely a prime ambush spot. And that's what happens when you find a prime ambush spot. You find that type of water, you find the bait, you find the fish. That's what it's all about. Little Mr. Flathead. Thank you, mate. Thank you for being where I'd hoped you might be. You have renewed my faith that I know what I'm doing after a long time out of the salt water. That 3-inch minnow's in pearl. He saw it hopping along. That's the TT headlocks. That's the 3/8. Lots of current ripping through. I wanted to make sure it was getting down deep, because that's where these fellas live. They sit on the bottom waiting for that food to come past. Look at that. What a beautiful fish. Got that 3-inch minnows right in the corner of his jaw. He wasn't going anywhere. Okay. Now, he'd be a great size for eating, but that's not what I'm out here today to do. I'm just out here to get me some sun, some fun. Hook's out. Time to get back in the water, mate. See ya. Back he goes. So after catching that fish, I'm just checking my leader to make sure that there's no nicks. Nothing that might cause any problems for future hits or fish. Got to be optimistic, eh? Juice him up with a little bit more Procure. This is the mullet. You can see that there's plenty of mullet in this system. And we're back into it. Go and catch another one. With that toughness of the ZMan construction, it'll be good for plenty more fish yet. Coming into these cooler months, the flatties do start to school up, so hopefully there'll be more of where he came from, but at least I've got one on the board. And I can just kick back and enjoy the afternoon as it unfolds. I'm going to go back and look for this bit of nervous water. That's the spot, and this whole area is going to change as the tide moves through, and where I'm targeting the fish will move with it. So I'm just waiting for that lure to hit the bottom and hopping it with the current, hopefully popping it back through some bait to a hungry fish. There we go, 2 in 2 casts. Not quite as big, this one, but it proves the theory. You find the bait, you find the current, and hopefully you find the fish. And they certainly love the ZMan minnows. Come on, mate, I'm going to get you off. You just got to quit wiggling around. There you go. Sun is going down, it's crunch time. This is when I'm hoping that the fishing is going to heat up. Only time will tell if that proves to be true. Because the flow of the tide has slowed, as we get towards the bottom of the tide, I've downed to 1/4 on my jig head. So it's going to be a bit of a suck it and see as to if that's going to be heavy enough to get down and stay down, or if I'll need to revert to the 3/8.
but as the tide picks up after it turns, I'm pretty sure that I'll need to go back to the 3/8 anyway. As conditions have got, as the light conditions have dropped off, I've gone for a darker colour. One of my favourites, which is black and gold, which is Gold Rush. There we go. Straight away, got some action. Feels like a flathead, I'd be guessing. Yep. Not a bad little fish. Be another good eating size one. Oh, settle down, fella. Settle down, settle down. Yeah, I'll get you free. Let me just get my... Got that jighead right through the roof of the lips there, and he's off. Just check that leader. That's all good. And that little 3-inch minnows is good to go again. So, downsizing to the 3-inch minnows, change in colour, lighter jighead, immediate results. Also to do with the time of night, just changing, that tide dropping off, right place, right time, right things. Come on, Mr. Big Flathead, or Mrs. Big Flathead as the case may be. Now's the time to come along and make my day. Sometimes there's more arse than class. Cast that one into a tree, lobbed it out of the tree, straight into a flathead's mouth. Not a bad fish. I'd be eating well if I was going for a feed tonight. Another one of those good eating size ones. Off you go, mate.